Now, part 5 of our exercise is going to be done in ArcGIS Online, and we're going to create a web map. And that web map is what we're going to use in Collector for ArcGIS to collect our field data. At this point, you can log out of or shut down ArcGIS Pro if it's still running, because effectively we are finished with it. So this page is our main page for this web layer that we just published called Restaurants for Real-Time GIS. What I'm going to do is I'm going to tell ArcGIS Online to open this in our map viewer. Now, we have launched this, we have the Restaurants for Real-Time GIS, but we have the whole wide world opened up to us. And that's because we have no features. We've never set the spatial extent. Now, oftentimes I'll actually do that in ArcGIS Pro, but we really don't have to do that anymore because those same capabilities, setting the default spatial extent, we can do that from ArcGIS Online now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom in to Idaho. To do that, I'm going to press and hold the Shift key, just like we do in ArcGIS Pro, and drag out a rectangle. I guessed that pretty good. Now I'm going to zoom in to Pocatello. A little bit closer. Now I'm going to zoom into the Idaho State University area on the south side of the city. And you know, that looks pretty good. Maybe a little bit closer. Now also I wanted to draw your attention to this base map. This is the Topographic or Esri Topographic base map. And Idaho State University and the GIS Center at ISU, we participate in Esri's community mapping, our map program. And provide detailed information about a lot of these things that you're seeing. These trees are real trees that are on the ISU campus. Nearly 4,000 of those things have been mapped. And these really are the locations, the real accurate locations of the sidewalks here at on the ISU campus. So I really think highly of Esri's Community Maps program and encourage you, if you can, to get involved with that and help build these really nice base maps. Maybe I'll zoom in just a little bit more, and that should work pretty well. Now what I want to do is I want to explore how well this Restaurants for Real-Time GIS feature class came across. So I'm going to expand this just a little bit to look at its legend. And looky here. The symbology that I utilized came through nicely. That may not always be the case, and if it's not the case, or if you decide to make some changes to it, you can still do that using this Change Style button right here. Now, since this all checked out very nicely, I'm going to go ahead and click Save. And now it's asking me for some information. You might think, well, hold on, how many times do I have to write this? Well, what we're doing here is we're not saving a feature class, we're not saving a map, we're saving a web map. Yes, it says map. This is not the same type of map as we worked with in ArcGIS Pro. This is a web map. So I need to give it a title. Now, I like to have similar names for projects. So if I have a thing called Restaurants for Real-Time GIS as my feature layer, I want to have a similar title for my web map. Similarly, give some thought to the tags you're applying. I'm going to provide a brief description here. And finally, I'm going to click to save the map. Now, the next thing that I want to do is I want to make sure that I share my web map so that other people can make use of it. If I was the only person who is going to collect data for this web map, well, I guess I'm done. But that's not normally the case. Normally, the case is that a GIS manager or a GIS analyst creates this web map, creates underlying it the file-based geodatabase, feature classes, domains, etc., etc. All this what I call back office work. And then other people go out and actually do the data collection. So it's very, very common that we then share this map so other people have access to it. And what you certainly don't want is you certainly don't want everyone in your organization making their own web maps and they're the only ones who collect into it. That is an absolute waste of time, effort, and ultimately money. So to give a little bit of control to who has access to who can collect data into this map, I like to use groups. So your ArcGIS Online for Organizations is going to have the ability to create or define user groups. For this exercise, I have a user group called GISU Community. And that's the one that I'm going to share this with. Now notice that once I clicked on it, there was a little bit of a pause, and then ArcGIS Online said, hold on, the underlying layer, the feature class, isn't shared in the same way. Do you want to fix this? And I really, really like this capability because sometimes you think you have all the bases covered, you've shared this part and that part and that part, and everything should work, and it just doesn't. So what ArcGIS Online is doing is it's searching for these dependencies, finding these sorts of things, and letting you know. And all we have to do, if this is going to work, I've got to click Update Sharing. That is done. I'm going to make sure that this map stores and the current map extent, so I'll leave this checked. And now I'm simply going to click Done. Finally, one last save. And now I'm going to jump back out to my content. And what I can see here is that I have a service definition that's been published. I have the Restaurants for Real-Time GIS hosted feature layer that's been published. These are the things that ArcGIS Pro pushed up to the cloud. And here's our web map that we just completed. And if I click it, and then tell it to open in the map viewer again, I like to do this to make sure that everything was saved just like I wanted it to. And one of the things I like to check here is to make sure that that spatial extent was saved correctly. And now it's time to head to the field. We're going to fire up Collector for ArcGIS. If you don't have it installed already, understand that that is a free app available for the iPhone and the Android. I use Android. I really like Collector for ArcGIS. As I said, it's all free. So we want to make sure that that's all ready to go, and we're just about ready to head to the field and collect some data.